to our next session, a panel discussion on building a digital-first mindset, shaping organizational culture for transformation. Now, the world is all about going digital, which is why C-level executives need to be one step ahead. Now, to show us how we can do that and how we can prepare ourselves, we have experts in the room to tell us. And today, our panelists are Jessica Atkinson, CEO of Will Be Effect, Shabeen Narang, CEO at Trajectories Business Solutions Private Limited, Neha Varma Jain, CEO at Startup Flux, Gabe Karp, Managing Director at 10up, Dr. Mohammed Al-Sheri, CEO at Saudi Export House, and our moderator is Rajesh V. Munyal, who is the Managing Director of Ethnos Digital. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you.
Good, I think first our session was just after lunch. I think somebody just came in, so I think we've got some breather, people are awake. So to start with, I think I'll just introduce myself and then pass on the mic to my colleagues to introduce them. I'm Rajesh. I am the co-founder and CEO of Ethnos Digital. We are a digital marketing agency based out of India, and we have an office in Australia too. We have around 250 odd people focused on performance marketing as well as brand marketing, and we do work with some clients in this region. This is what about us. Maybe Dr. Mohammed, over to you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Mohammed Al-Shahri. I'm also again the CEO and founder of Saudi Export House. We are dealing with consultancy, management, marketing consultancy, training programs. Also we are doing some of the attracting global firms from all around the world. And we have also doing a lot of partnership globally from India, from Canada, USA, and other countries, because you know now Vision 2030 is considered very important for our country. So attracting a very pioneer company is the first priority for the country. We are trying also to do import and export activities, elevating the industrial sector in the kingdom. This is a brief about me. Thank you.
And I'm Gabe Karp. I'm the Managing Director for 10up across this region. 10up is a digital agency that works with all sorts of organizations, from publishers to governmental organizations and higher education. We help build digital platforms for our clients and also help transform their businesses to be able to support those platforms. So whether it's working to restructure engineering teams or retrain engineering teams, whether it's bringing in product management functions, we're really focused on not just building the thing, but also ensuring that that thing can be successful when it's launched.
Hello everyone, Jessica Atkinson, CEO for the Will Be Effect. Essentially, the purpose of our organization is 3 pillars. We do digital transformations and also business process transformations for large organizations looking to pivot with the dynamics that are in the changing markets. I also have created content that I use to support corporations and universities around project management and leadership. And I also work as a human rights activist in several different countries in regards to human rights. So definitely looking forward to this.
Hi, I'm Shabeen. Personally, I worked for about 34 years, but I claim that I'm forever 25 because I've learned new things every single year. So today I read about AI, ML, and I think I really enjoy that subject. Professionally, I have an experience in financial services, telecom, and ITES. Today I run a training and assessments firm, and I think what really keeps me going and really enjoying my work is the fact that I have a great team and we deliver actual measurable results to our clients.
Thank you. Hi everyone, this is Neha. I am the CEO of Startup Flux. So Startup Flux is Basically, we call ourselves as McKinsey's for SMEs and startups. Of course, we do enterprise level clients, but that's the core business and that's what we started with. I also founded a podcast which is Rewriting Destiny Tales of Triumph, where we talk to women entrepreneurs, especially, describe their unsung stories and get motivated, share the stories with people up there through Instagram, YouTube, Apple, Spotify. And yes, I have served around in terms of marketing 150 plus clients globally in a span of 6 years. So yes, very happy to be a part of this esteemed panel. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for the introduction. Keep exchanging. So what I'll try to do is just try to ask. We prepared some questions, which is a combination of different types, so that you can get some understanding of digital first. To actually give you some, understanding of digital first mindset. You would have seen a lot of things became fast when COVID came in. It was earlier people never used to think digital first. They used to also always think about traditionally how to run a business and how to do things. I think COVID forced a lot of businesses to actually think digital first, and now it has become a digital first country or a digital first globe. We've also seen, like my friend here runs a company which is like completely work from home. They are like 400 people and they don't have an office, right? And when they start an office, nobody comes to office. I think they ensure they better don't keep an office. So things have changed, things have evolved. So I think I'll ask my first question to Dr. Mohammed about Saudi Arabia. So what do you think about Saudi Arabia's digital mindset?
It's a great question. It's very important to focus on the government involvement in the digitalization and IT technology. In the beginning, in the previous 10 years, the digital and digitalization sector was led by the private sector, like banks, hospitals, etc. Now, during the last 7 years, the government has created the Government Digital Authority, which is taking care of initiative of digitalizing all the IT technology for the government. And due to Vision 2030, the kingdom has budgeted billions of Saudi riyals and dollars to give the infrastructure of IT and digitalization. We have 6,000 services in the Saudi Arabia, government of Saudi Arabia. All of them are digitalized, and by 2025 they will reach 7,000 of government services will be digitalized. And also we have 15 platforms in Saudi Arabia dealing with clients, doing all the government services. Every government, if we take for example about the justice department here in Saudi Arabia, they have hundreds of services. Just you plug your mobile, go inside, just click the services you are looking for. Seconds, you can finish whatever you want. If you want to issue your national ID, if you want to, for your commercial registration, the commercial registration, you can issue it in Saudi Arabia in 60 seconds, your commercial registration. The investor also, they can do it in maybe 6 hours. They can finish their businesses, which is, it's very advanced. Now Microsoft and Oracle, they are attracted by the country, and they will spend $9 billion in 2025 to bring them to Saudi, and they start their technology business activities in Saudi Arabia. This is a brief about the kingdom movement of the digital sector.
And all these changes you feel have happened in the last 6 to 7 years, right?
Exactly, yes. Before it was really, with the new, we'll start the Vision 2030 with our leader, the big one, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has really focused on the IT technology, which is moving fast, very fast. Yes.
Super. Great. Thank you so much for the answer. Gabe, my question to you is, I will have to pass the mic. We just be sharing one. My question to you is, what are some scenarios, where the transition to digital first mindset you feel, happens?
I think a business has to be willing to invest in the right ways and think about it as a long-term investment, right? Every time that you take a short-term investment, there's a revenue impact or there's a cost impact, and companies that I've seen where this doesn't work is where they're trying to do that transformation in a cost-neutral way. Where it does work is when you say, we've got a 10-year plan, and that 10-year plan means that we will transition over that period into a digital-first environment. But we know we're going to take some hits along the way, and we know we're going to learn from those hits and come out a better business, right? And so you have to come into it with that starting point. And when you don't, that's where I think you really can get into some trouble.
Can I add to that?
Please.
So I think it fails under 3 scenarios. Scenario number 1, your customer is not ready for the technology. So if you're going to deploy technology in an environment where the customer is not ready for it, it's not going to work, whatever you do. And the customer could be internal or external. Once the customer is ready for it, then the person developing the technology has to be customer-centric.
Yep.
Because I see so many digital platforms which are automation first, not digital first. They have bad UI, they're built by people who sit in the back end, have no idea how it's going to get used by the people in the front end. I work with leading financial services in India, and they're fairly automated, very high-tech firms. But even after 2 years of deployment, it takes the leader to say, no more paper, because otherwise I'm going to stop processing any transactions. But why did people not accept it in the first go? If they've accepted Zoom, for example. It's because half the time, the stuff that needs to be uploaded, there's no damn button for it. They forgot to put the button there. And then they're struggling to find some workaround around it. So you have band-aid systems. You produce a system, then you put one band-aid on it. Then you realize, oops, forgot this also. You put another band-aid on it. Before you know it, you have a band-aid system. So if you're not customer-centric, it ain't going to work. And the third is, especially in large distributed scenarios where you have one salesperson in one country, another one in another, a third one in a third place, it then ends up becoming, and this is the culture side of it, it ends up becoming that one person's lone journey. So they think, I'm the only one who has to use the system, why should I do it? I'm used to doing it in the old way. You really need to celebrate success and show how it is working. Because otherwise, human beings have a tendency to continue to want to do work in the old ways that they've always done, unless there's something in it for them. It becomes better, faster, or they feel that, well, I don't want to be left out, the feeling of missing out. So just to recap, 1, customer must be ready. 2, you must be ready to listen to the customer to build your system. And 3, once you've deployed it, you must celebrate success. Either one of these 3 failing,
Sure.
it won't work.
Just to add here, so back in our country, we've seen that, customer is ready, but sometimes the team members are not ready to adapt to change.
When I said customer, I meant internal customer also.
Okay, internal also. Because what we've seen is that the team members don't want to, if they're working on a comfort zone, they really don't want to move to a new technology. Yeah, you want to add?
Yeah, I think it's not even just moving to a new technology, it's different ways of working. So we had a client that's a big publishing house in the UK where they were working in waterfall, they were all working in the office, they were all sitting at their desktop computers, right? And so the first thing we did, because we had to deliver this project with their team in tandem, was we restructured their dev team into agile squads. We moved to a remote environment where people were more comfortable and more productive. We transformed the ways of working along with upskilling on technology. But if we hadn't thought about it from the ways of working first, we never would have, the impact of training somebody on the technology would have been lost.
Correct. I think that is where it is, You want to add something there?
Yeah, I think that comes up as the key challenges that people have. That's the thing. So I just want to say that it's more of these common challenges that we face in the organization is resistance to change, like lack of resistance in terms of this, lack of flexibility. The leader does not share the vision as to why you need to do this, or what is the goal here? Why are we actually moving from, say, this from a normal traditional method to a digital transformation? Secondly, I think we should take a few steps back, be it for our clients or even internally. I think first is we need to understand the mindset. We need to have that mindset. That why do you want to do it? What is the benefit there for the customer? What is the benefit and how is it going to be also impacting your internal team members? So I think that's more to do with the leader here. So most of the organizations like David Rogers, he is the world's leading expert in digital transformation. He has actually written this book, The Roadmap to Digital Transformation. He says that 70% of the digital transformation efforts fail. This is why, because people tend to focus on technological problems rather than organizational challenges. So that's very important, that the mindset, first thing is very important that we need to focus on. Second, we need to, as a leader, give that vision to the team that why is it important and how it's going to benefit the client and internally you, how it's going to save time, how that will help your growth in that, right? So yeah, that's the point I wanted to add.
Thank you, Neha. Yeah, Jess, you want to add something?
Definitely want to highlight, excellent point. Want to kind of talk about, so what does it mean to actually do that, right? What do we actually specifically need to do differently? From my experience, what I've identified, what has to be done differently comes again from change management. We often are so consumed with project management, with the software development lifecycle, with the business process, and we miss the opportunity to create awareness why this change is important. From a human perspective, even good change can be difficult, right? And from that fundamental understanding, right, then we can begin that creating the awareness and desire to want to change. For those who may come or be aware of the work culture in the U.S., it's an at-will culture, right? It's an at-will contract. So how do we, inside of our organizations, not have an at-will work environment, right? Because this has a negative effect on our ability to transform. We started by making project changes or task changes, and now we're evolving to transformation changes. Transformation meaning that it has an enterprise impact. It's being guided by economic changes. It's being guided by regulatory and compliance changes. It's being guided by the advancements of technology, meaning if we don't do it, we will get behind. Right, so definitely wanted to make sure to highlight what do we specifically have to do. We have to allow for a diversity of voices. Just one more piece that I would add is an example of that. I've had the opportunity to do a gray space bill in Philippines as a U.S. company. And I pick up the project after we've already scoped it out, signed all the documents, and we're already initiating and running this project. It comes time to build out the bathrooms, and we hadn't purchased or budgeted for the duvet, right? So project stopped for 3 weeks, right? These are the things where when we don't have the right people at the table during the initial discussions, and how it really creates, as we're trying to advance forward, those little things make a big difference.
Thank you so much. Makes sense. Just a question to you here, since you mentioned about culture. Jess, it's your question, just to mention about culture, to talk about, does business, support the mental healthness, the psychological safe spaces of their employees, and a part of the digital first strategy, how important it is, and, if so, then why do you feel it is important?
Right, what I would highlight is we go into changes, and it's change at all costs, right? We often forget the core values of the company in an effort to keep up with the demands. And I'm assuming a lot of us have worked in, from a business and technology side, and we do a transformation, and the developers work overtime, nights, days, they don't, no vacation, they shut everything down. By the time we complete the digital part of the transformation, there's no developers to do the ongoing work. Right? They've all quit, we burned them all out, right? And then on the other side, we have our business where we don't even do capacity planning, right? So we don't even know the level of work that we've given our employee. and then they burn out. So who's left for this exciting change that we just completed and spent millions of dollars on, right? So this component of change at all costs, and the answer to that is, well, you know, what specifically do we need to do? We have to have a people-first approach, right? A people-first approach means that as a leader, which I think aligns with, you know, what we just talked about in the earlier session, as a leader, that I, you know, little things, I don't have to send emails at 8 o'clock, and if I'm working at 8 o'clock at night, that I can time those emails, right? Or as I have global teams, that I'm aware of time differences, right? All of these little things about respecting people's mindset, and then the impact that it has on our success to successfully transform and still have a staff.
I think that's right. I think transformation is also about creating a culture of innovation, right? And a culture of innovation requires a willingness to let people fail and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And we have such aggressive timelines and goals and objectives, and we're so focused on, you know, the OKRs of you know, measuring impact, and it has this kind of negative effect of killing that innovation culture, and it gets even harder when you're remote, right? Because everybody's sitting in front of their computer, everybody's on Zoom, you're not in the office taking a break and talking about, you know, this cool idea I have. It's all structured communication. So it's central to transformation, and it is focusing on that piece of it as well.
Yes, please. I will give you a real case study which has happened to us. I used to work with Saudi Industrial Development Funds for the last 23 years ago. You know, Saudi Industrial Development Fund is a government entity giving soft loans for industrial projects in all sectors. And when we started, we used to have a big files. Clients used to come with us with a big files, feasibility studies, for example. They put it in a big black file and bring it to the project department. And project department used to send 3 copies to technical, marketing, and finance. Okay, and after that, we start taking 1 month for reviewing the feasibility study, trying to bring and ask the client for additional information. Then after that, we send him by email. It's a post email. It's not, we don't have emails at that time. We send them by post email. We send them the additional information that we are looking for. And he spent 1 month to reply to us also. And now, 5 years back, we started with a big initiative, which is called IT Big Change. We called it IT Big Change Organization. And from every department, where 2 or 3 employees were selected for this initiative. And we created the client portal, company portal, and also CR portal. And now, instead of taking 3 months for evaluating 1 project, 2 weeks for giving the final decision. So this is the IT change. This is the digital. And now, if you want to ask any question, you just send it by clicking just 1 button, you will have the answer. So this is how the IT works.
Nice, thank you. Thank you, right?
Yeah.
You want to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. You know, I think we need to a little bit zoom out and look at the question, because I think we're talking about stuff which is digital transformation, and I have no argument with that. They're all great ideas. But there are 2 parts of this question. One is digital first. And very different from automation. Digital first means that the person, when they need something, buy a product, get information, put in a service request, whatever they want to do, they should think digital first. Not pick up the phone, not ask my boss, not go read a book, but it should be digital first. Now, if you want to build that sort of culture, that brings me to the second point, which is culture doesn't get built in a day. It takes time. So therefore, if you blend those 2, so you know, it needs a whole lot of components to be put together. And I think the one person who really knows how to build culture, no longer on this planet, is a gentleman called Walt Disney. We should never fear to learn from another discipline. So he had a wonderful line. He said, when you want to build culture, you have to make sure everything walks the talk and everyone walks the talk. That's a very important and a very powerful statement. Because when you're saying everything walks the talk, digital first means if I'm changing something and I want the person to think digital first, my process must be digital first. My systems access must be digital first. My information systems must be integrated in such a manner that the person thinks digital first. So there's a whole lot of integration in the back end. It's much beyond automation. It requires you to really step back and say, I want my employees and I want my customers to be digital first. Which means I have to rethink the way I think first. And then building culture means everything walks the talk, which means everything means process systems, technology, UI, everything. And then everyone walks the talk, which means your people. Which means the leaders will then say, if the person says, boss, what is the status on my last request that I made? He should not say, let me give you the information. He should redirect the person to say, listen, that information is already there.
Yeah.
That's when everyone walks the talk. So the magic isn't going to happen in a day. So if we believe we can do automation, definitely project begins, project ends. But culture building is a continuous process. Leaders have to start thinking, I want my people, I want my customers to think digital first. Therefore, how can we make this digitally easy for them?
Makes
The
sense.
whole digital journey. That's the CX, UI, process, technology, the whole works. And then I have to guide the customer's experience. I have to guide my people's experience so that they can really be digital first. So I think there's a difference between automation and project management and deploying change and driving a digital first mindset as a culture.
Got it. Neha, you want to say something?
Yeah. So Shalini, this is for you. I just want to understand, so one is digital first, while we also have, so you're talking about these companies who are traditional companies and moving to a digital first approach.
Yeah.
But we also have companies who are digital born companies, for example, Netflix, Amazon, Tesla. So these companies basically, have started with the entire culture, the system, the thought process by the leaders to everything on a digital transformational journey.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you have to say that if these companies want to scale it up, how a digital born company can then again scale it up in terms of culture? Like, what do you think is different from a digital
So the
first
culture
approach?
is already digital. And I think there was a great merit in one of the discussions that happened here yesterday, where they were talking about from digital to physical. So Nykaa began with a physical and digital combined strategy. They were talking about a gym, I think it was called Shark Gym if I'm not mistaken yesterday, how he started as a pure play, digital culture first, and now has gone physical. So I'm not saying that digital first is the only answer. By no means. You have to change the strategy depending on what your customer, how the customer experience is best delivered. So when they were talking about Shark Gym yesterday, they talked about the fact that it moved from pure play digital to now opening a store so that the customer can experience it. So I'm not saying digital first is the best, but if you want digital first, then you have to be digital first.
Got it.
Yeah, I wanted to just jump in there, completely aligned with the group here. One of the things I would want everyone to leave with is the idea that the digital first mindset comes from removing the negative connotations with digital, right? So when we think, how do I shift? It's, we have a lot of negative misconceptions about what does digital mean. It's going to take my job. It's going to make my job, I'm going to have to change what I do, right? And these things create a fear. And then that stifles our ability to take this transformation to complete the digital change, while at the same time, we're creating all these great tools to make it easier. We have this, opportunity to go through that change adoption, right? So what I would say is there's a need for change management to align with the things that we're doing because we think this is better for you, right? To align that with, again, creating an awareness and a desire to want to change, meaning that we have to highlight what is the digital first, how is it going to make my job easier, and I'm still going to have one.
I just want to build on what you said. How it's going to make my job easier is different for different people. It's very different. Some people, it's the age-old, the market adoption curve. 10% early adopters, they'll adopt your technology, they're very happy. But what are you going to do with the 90? You chip away, bit by bit by bit at the 90 till you have 99% of the people who are happy with the technology. That means technology must be flexible, architecture must be agile. It means leaders must listen. So there's multiple things that have to happen.
Sure.
If you want your culture to be a culture of success built on digital.
You wanted to add something?
Yes. I always like to give examples. I know a very well-known company, okay? It's a multi-million dollar company, and they are dealing with some loans or something. If you click the client portal, trying to access the information you want to fill in the forms, it is stuck with you for an hour and a half. Please, we need to test our pages before we release them. It's very important. Testing our services, testing our customer portal is very important. And the total cost of this was $20 million. You want to change to technology, okay. How it goes, you should know how it goes.
Neha, my question to you is, I think since we spoke about culture, let me stick to culture. What are the key challenges in transforming, an organization culture to be digital first, according to you?
Yeah, I think I mentioned that in terms of the key challenges, the lack of visibility from the leader, the vision, lack of resistance, low basically scope from the leaders in terms of technology. I think these are the key challenges in an organization, in which people as leaders especially first need to fix that within them, and so that they can then pass it on to the organization and the employees. For example, for us, if I am not clear with what kind of vision do I have for certain clients, right? We have different clients. Like I said, digital first approach is not something which fits one size all. With diverse clients, we have different approach digitally, right? And not necessarily we have to adapt to all the digital first approach to all our clients. So for us, it's more like that. When I remember one of my clients who is Forbes 30 under 30, who's working basically under environmental sustainable industry. So what his company does is basically they transform the discarded floral remnants from temples, mosques, and from the bank of Gangas, and they build lifestyle products, eco-friendly lifestyle products, right? So which is something like incense sticks, cones, and those kind of products that they sell. They came to us and they were actually facing problems of lack of visibility, of course sales, again it's a product they wanted to sell. Now this thing, what we as a team, we came up with one of the channels, an omni-channel approach that was of course that was suggested to them. But for each of these channels, like one of the examples I would like to give in terms of digital approach, we took as WhatsApp AI. That will help the client to basically connect with his customers, engage with them on WhatsApp businesses, makes it easier for them to track, and again leading to qualified leads. And it was serving the purpose, whatever they needed, right? That was one example. Then again, for one of my clients in the UK, they are basically they are recommended by the Legal 500, one of the best solicitor firms. And they again came to me 3 years back with the problem of organic traffic, sales, and they did not have the right target audience and also the sales process in place. We suggested them at that point of time two things. One was account-based marketing on LinkedIn to B2B sales. That's what we did. Again, the digital transformation thing came in. And the second was the Zoho CRM to improve their sales process. So again, for different clients, different challenges, and that's what we come up with these, take help from all these digital first approach to be able to serve the purpose for the clients. And also, while doing these things, of course it was all new, WhatsApp, Zoho CRM, my team wasn't trained for those things, right? You have to first train your team. First you need to figure out that do we need those technologies? Any digital transformation happening out there, it's not necessary that you take and implement all over your organization and you give it or sell it to all your clients. That's not how it's done. You need to first figure out, assess the real-time data, analytics, and make faster iterations so that you're able to take faster decisions and then fuel innovation. That is what you're supposed to do.
I think what you're highlighting there as well is digital transformation can't just happen within an IT team, right? It has to happen within the organization. I was working with a large financial institution, a credit card issuer, and they're in a regulated industry, right? And so every piece of information that goes out on their website or goes out on the app has to be reviewed by a lawyer. So we had to actually embed lawyers in the sprint teams in order to increase our velocity and release on an ongoing basis. That's one example, right? It's a very small example of how this touches every single department, and you have to look at what is the business that you have to accomplish, what are the processes that have to stay there, and how do you bring those into that transformation?
And just a small example. So we had a very strange client who said, today I have 9 people reporting to one manager in the front end. I want you to convert this one human being into a digital manager. So I want you to implement a digital manager such that I can take the 9-to-1 ratio to 25-to-1 ratio. So now that's a business goal. You want a digital boss. Now first you have to define what kind of boss. So they must be empathetic, they must understand me, they must communicate to me at a time I want to be communicated with, they must understand my communication style, they must communicate to me on the channel which I like to be communicated with. So there's a whole lot of thinking that needed to be done. And therefore we built the technology to say, okay, let's build the technology. Where do people go most of the time to get their information? WhatsApp. Don't have an app, just WhatsApp. So we didn't build an app. Most companies will say, oh, you want to replace the boss, let's build an app. Sorry, not going to work. Because people don't go to apps. First of all, they don't want to talk to their manager because the manager only shouts at them. Second of all, they don't want to go to an app. So we said, let's make this your best friend at work. And that's how we launched it. Digital manager, your WhatsApp, your best friend at work. And that was where they would get their jokes, they would get personalized messages. So mine would come with emojis, hers would come without emojis because she doesn't like emojis. It took a year and a half of artificial intelligence in the back end to figure out what type she liked, what type I liked, what type of information at what time. So it's really CX, customer experience, i.e. internal customer experience, best technology to have, really deeply understanding what's the vision you want to translate through digital first.
I think a lot of us know about digital first, and we keep talking about companies like Netflix, Tesla, others, things like that. Dr. Mohammed, I would like you to throw some light of this whole industry that we see on digital first, 4.0, 3.0. How does it look in the manufacturing sector?
Okay, excellent. Brother Faizan, could you please share us a slide, just only one slide? Yes, just like this, just to show you some of the numbers. As I mentioned previously, that we are focusing on government involvement and the importance of governments in the Industry 4.0. If we talk globally about the size of the Industry 4 globally, it is in 2020 was $500 billion, and it is expected to reach 3.7 trillion by 2025. 4 major sectors are focusing, which is manufacturer, logistic, and also industrial, and other sector which is very important to be focused on. For Saudi Arabia, they are trying to attract 4 major players, which is Microsoft, Ericsson, Oracle, and also General Electric, to start implementing and attracting the Industry 4.0. This is the market size. If we see the market size, we are expecting to have $7.9 billion by 2030. And Saudi Arabia is representing 50% out of the MENA region size. The revenue can be reached. It is assumed to be 900 million riyal revenues by 2030. And the growth rate is expected to be 30% by also 2030. In Saudi Arabia, we are having 8,000 factories. The Vision 30 now is trying to increase them to 30,000 factories by 2030. 40% out of the 9,000 factories trying to be digitalized or going for Industry 4.0. We're having also a 40 industrial zone in Saudi Arabia, attracting from all the globe. This is a brief about, also the kingdom is putting a fund for the Industry 4.0, 453 billion US dollar for Industry 4.0. And the infrastructure only for Industry 4.0 will be 2.5 billion Saudi riyals, or dollars, sorry. Also, we have the Saudi Industrial Development Fund, which is the government entity giving loans, helping factory, not only the local factory, but also the foreigners to come and attract and invest in Saudi Arabia. As I mentioned, this is a brief because the time is running. This is just brief about it. Thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you so much. I think this is very insightful that one can actually see and understand. Neha, question to you. I think I'm not going in the line now, I'm just jumping. Okay. You know, how do you feel? How does digital first approach influence decision making and innovation within the organization? What are your thoughts on that?
Like I mentioned, within the organization, about the 2 examples that I gave of my client, that's what is going to impact the organization. Also, I would like to talk about here in terms of the digital first approach. Like I said, it cannot be any technology which is up there that you implement it. You need to first assess the data. You need to take real-time actions. So for example, if there's a client who comes and tell me that, hey, I need to do this, or maybe implement this, because there are clientele I've seen in my experience that they are prepared, that we just want to do SEO, or we just want to implement this one thing. And we are like, hey, we are the experts here, let me decide if it's required for you or not, right? So that is the thing, taking a step back, researching about it, assessing real-time data analytics, what kind of the industry which is there, will this digital first approach and transformation give this client a competitive edge in the industry? There are so many factors that one needs to see within an organization to be able to sell it out.
Got it.
Right.
I want to add to
Please,
that.
please.
One of my clients, a Fortune 100 client, had 2 years in the midst of a digital transformation. Brought me in, and the best way I can explain it is just quoting Mary Poppins, a spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down, right? Like we can't ship the Titanic overnight. And what I encouraged them to do was to just take small pieces, right? So let's go back to our security team and let's try to get our notes for all of the meetings to use AI and automate that function, so that's one less administrative task, right? Because the number one reason their transformation was failing is because they have a meeting for a meeting, right? So we all know it, right? Spend all day in meetings and then work at night, right? So in order to reduce that type of culture and actually get things done, it's something as simple as that, right? So I wanted to highlight that. Like, I think that's a great point. We need to do the little things, show the positive side of digital transformation, right? Get some buy-in, like, ooh, that was pretty cool. And then continue to introduce the small tasks, the small projects, and then you get the global transformation.
So just adding to this, it's called as a butterfly effect. I don't know if you've heard of it. So any small action or changes that you do, in a complex system, it leads to greater effects elsewhere, right? Similarly, that happens in the marketing industry, that my team doing even a slightest change in any of the strategy leading to digital transformation can either generate great results or can have ripple effect throughout the industry.
Sure.
Right? So you need to be very careful as to what needs to be chosen, because it can have either great results or it can be backfiring you.
Great. Yeah, I've seen that actually. Pareto rule works the best in digital. 20-80. Just make the change 20%, 80% effective. You'll see everywhere. Great. Before I open up questions to audience, Gabe, I have a last question to you. Why do you think it is challenging to invest both in digital first and legacy approach?
I think it goes to the conversation we've been having this whole time, right? You have to transform the business to understand we are moving in a digital direction because that is the future of the organization. And if you've got one foot in and one foot out, you're just never gonna change the culture, right? And the culture stays. So publishing is a really good example of this. You have a lot of publishers who continue to invest in physical publications, whether it's a newspaper or a printed magazine. They've got one foot in that, they're getting revenue over there, so they keep investing in it because revenue's coming in, and they're not investing enough or transforming over here on the digital side. And that really, it stifles that culture of transformation, of innovation, and makes everything more challenging.
Cool, thank you. Thank you so much. I think I'll open up questions for the audience. We are short on time. Anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask.
Sorry, I know this was me, I guess I'm near the mic. Thanks, that was really, really cool, and I love you really brought out the idea that the business and how it adapts, and the users and how they work with. On a project that we're working on, we seconded in staff into the delivery team itself because they understood how the business worked. But I think one of the reasons I see is that the business doesn't understand technology, and the technology people don't understand the business, right? And they think that if they speak to the business, then they'll understand. I think there's a gap in the people who understand to bring technology and adapt the business to make the most of technology and to bring those two things together. But who do you see working, whose job is it? If IT is, IT infrastructure, right, and business just want to get on with their job and not have it change, who do you think's role is to be that almost interpreter to kind of blend these two things together and make this successful outcome?
May I answer that in 2 lines? So I was really lucky to be part of Citibank because for no rhyme or reason, because we had a limitation on number of licenses we could get in India, we had no choice, we had to be digital first. And so we learned pretty quickly that you need to have somebody who moves out from business into technology on a short-term basis, understands the technology pretty quickly, and then does the integration. So then it got a fancy name called system integrator and all of that. But in our own very simple terms, we found people to quickly spin off into a user coordinator role and then spin back into business. So that was our answer of the, at that time there was not much technology, but that was our answer to it.
I just like to add here, I think, if we have the brief written correctly, the technology team can actually develop and give us what we need. We don't need to actually, move people from one to the other. What is important is if we have clear understanding of what we want to build. To be honest, in some cases what we have done is we've gone to a client and the client has said, this is what we want to build. And we have no idea. We say yes and we come and build it. Because it is possible. What we have seen is that anything that you try to build in technology is possible. So I think as far as your brief is very clear that this is what I want to build, this is what it should do, the tech team will be able to build it.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there as well, Simon. From my experience, as far as the roles and responsibilities, who are responsible to be your bilingual person, right, speak business and tech, technically those people, from my experience, are your product owners, your business analyst, who's actually responsible for creating the business requirements doc, which is a translation of the functionalities and capabilities of the business process into a technical requirements, right? So introducing your product owner, your business analyst, and you also have an additional layer of that through your IT manager, and then also through your project management leadership, and then also your Scrum Master, right? Now we know all business do not have all of those positions. However, it's not about the name, it's just about the ownership of those roles and responsibilities.
Anyone has any other questions?
No questions.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you to all our panelists, that was wonderful.